Welcome back to the Free Mouse MC YouTube channel, and we are today here in Berlin with the Royal Enfield Classic 650, and what a gorgeous colorway. When I was talking to Royal Enfield about this motorcycle, I was like, give me the bike if you give it to me in this specific colorway, because it's so nice to look at, so nice with the golden stripes and all the little metal parts and chrome. However, enough talking about how the bike looks. Let's see how the bike rides here in the gorgeous capital of Germany, Berlin, and we're going to visit a few cafes, and with we, I mean me and my friend behind the camera. Hi, this is Maurice. Nice to have you. He will be joining me also on the Royal Enfield Classic 650, and we're going to explore with these gorgeous bikes Berlin. Let's go! And off we are exploring the streets of Berlin. And Berlin is the perfect city to explore on this motorcycle with the big, open, wide roads that are perfect to cruise on with this cruiser motorcycle. It was noticeable from stoplight to stoplight that the Classic 650 is the heaviest motorcycle Royal Enfield has made up until now when accelerating. However, the fact that the motorcycle is pretty heavy made the bike also really stable in low speed situations, and that combined with the really wide steering angle, you could maneuver loads of situations in the city pretty well. After exploring Berlin now here on the motorcycle, we came across this little cute market, which is really nice because you got a lot of different things here. Earlier I stumbled across some motorcycle gear at a used clothes stand, and I actually got my race suit from a stand like that, because every once in a while you find proper motorcycle gear with protectors in there that's still pretty good, and loads of other stuff like vinyl records, which were really nice to look through, some art. And in general, I think markets are something that make a town come to life, and it's something that I really enjoy in every town I visit to walk over, and it's really nice. I continued my walk over the market before getting back on the motorcycle and stumbled across some old childhood memories. Also, I searched through some watches, and I actually found a watch that would make for quite an interesting addition to the dash of a custom motorcycle build. After flicking through the pages of a book about my favorite artist Andy Warhol, it was time to get back to the other beauties of the city of Berlin, like the beautiful classic German cars that you could see all over the city, where the Royal Enfield Classic 650 was making an excellent figure right next to with its gorgeous look, and just look at this beautiful turquoise paint job. So let's get back on the motorcycle and find the next hidden gem of the beautiful city of Berlin. Riding the Classic 650 feels like going for a slow, casual walk. It doesn't invite to speed, rather to look around from the perspective of the beautiful cockpit. It's basically about seeing and being seen on this really one-of-a-kind, gorgeous motorcycle. The look of the bike is just magnificent. So we now rode our bikes here to the Craftwork, which is a really nice meeting spot here in Berlin for people from the car community. We saw some beautiful cars outside, and also for people who ride motorcycles and who like to work on them. And I often have the struggle of working on my own bike alone in my cold garage, but you guys offer quite a nice solution for that.
Yes, so welcome first of all to Craftwork, which is a community garage. So it works like a gym for motorcycle riders, completely open, doesn't matter what kind of brand you ride. And it works like a subscription plan. You pay a monthly fee, then you get access to the workshop, you can use the tools, and it's a nice community.
That's really cool, because I restored my Yamaha FCR 1000 in the last winter in -5 degrees in my own garage with one toolbox from Lewis, and that was kind of a lot of work. How did this community actually get started, and how did it all get to be in this beautiful location with this like beautiful like surrounding?
The idea started in a much smaller community garage, which was in Kreuzberg, and we had roughly 200 square meters, and at some point we were so packed and we thought, hey, maybe there is a business model behind it, that we could enjoy a nice coffee, watch through a glass window and then into a workshop. And then we decided, let's check out for a new location. It took 3 years to actually find this building, which is a baking factory from 1904. And then, it took us a year to renovate the whole place. There was nothing in it, so a real community effort. And now we're here with 900 square meters. And we never thought it would be packed, but right now we have a little bit more than 100 members.
One thing I noticed really positively about the Craftwork was the combination of motorcycle and car community, because really often these two communities are really divided, even though the things they like are really close together and the overlap between these communities is really big. Like, I ride motorcycles and I love cars too, and the other way around, it's most likely for many people. So I really enjoyed seeing all the gorgeous cars like this yellow 911. What a beautiful car, and just the sound of it. The variety of different motorcycles that we now got to see here at the Kraftwerk is really impressive. From the old rally BMWs, which are original ones, which is pretty crazy, to all the bikes of different builds, from over here, an MV Agusta, to a really old Harley Davidson. It's really, really nice to see, and that all these people here work on their own motorcycles together is so nice and so cool. And it's such a nice community that they all get together and share their hobby and their passion with each other. Being surrounded by all these works of art, of machinery and engineering, also made me appreciate the Classic 650 a lot more, with its hand-painted gold lines on the tank and the beautiful beak above the front headlight and the really nice instruments. I also really like how the lock of the motorcycle is off to the side, and on the other side you have the tripper dash, and it's all symmetrical. However, motorcycles always fulfill a function. A super sport goes really quick around a track. An adventure bike is great for touring, and this bike is really, really gorgeous. But with that, it asks the question, is it really a motorcycle or more a statement piece? The Classic 650 ends up having more in common with a fancy watch than a motorcycle. With a price tag starting at 7 grand, it's basically the Psycho watch of motorcycles. It's a bike that you don't want to see a single scratch or bit of dirt on. However, it's also the 6th time that we're seeing the 650 engine in a motorcycle from Royal Enfield, and with the weight of the bike, it's pushed to the limit where the bike is still fun. Yes, the bike is still fun, most definitely, however, it's right at that line, and it kind of begs the question, do you like looking at a beautiful house, or do you like living in it? However, that's not the end of the world. Many motorcycles need different blinkers and different mirrors to look good, and the Classic 650 definitely looks good the way it comes out of the factory. However, it could really benefit from potentially giving it a different air filter, a different mapping, and potentially a different exhaust. Maybe that's already all you need. So, usually fitting for the beautiful motorcycles that we're riding, we would be going to a cafe, but because we're in Berlin, we're going to try out the infamous Berlin Döner, because Maurice had the idea, and that's a really great idea. And in general, Germany has such good Döner kebab, and Berlin is especially famous for it, so we're now going to give it a try here in Berlin. After not being hungry anymore, we started our drive through the government neighborhood in Berlin. This is the Reichstags building, the place where the German parliament, the Bundestag, sits in. The Reichstag is an incredibly important signal for the German population ever since 1999, when it became again the place for the Bundestag after Germany being reunited, as a symbol for democracy, freedom, and rule of law. With that, Berlin is home to one of the biggest symbols for the value of our constitution. which are first of all the invulnerability of human rights, equality for everyone, and the freedom of faith, among many other things. The importance of these values and virtues is underlined by the still existing bullet holes in the Reichstag's building from Germany's dark past in the 20th century, and serve as a reminder to never repeat this in any form. We then got going on our way to the Brandenburger Tor and came across the massive police response to a protest of that size, of a protest protesting against the treatment of the Palestinian civilian population. And here we are, the road leading up to the Brandenburger Tor on the Classic 650, and what a beautiful sight. I haven't seen the Brandenburger Tor ever since a class trip in 8th grade, so I was really excited about seeing it. So we're now here in the center of Berlin, and after seeing the Bundestag earlier, which is pretty cool, riding the motorcycle here through Berlin was really nice. We got so many stares of people because people really like the Classic 650 and the look of it. And now we're here right in front of the Brandenburger Tor, and there's another motor vlogger who just got told off by the police, who's driving off right behind me. Yeah, it was really nice to see, and Berlin is such a nice place. Like, a lot of young people want to move here because it's basically a place where everyone can exist how they are, which is pretty cool, and that was also pretty noticeable today in our time here in Berlin. And so nice to see the city. And now a few more words to my first impression on the Classic 650 that I got the joy of riding through Berlin today. Sadly, the filming of our video didn't go to plan, by Maurice's Classic going into limp mode and us having to tow the bike. We had to sit on the curb for 3 hours waiting for roadside assistance, which was quite the curveball. Royal Enfield's little manufacturing quirk that every brand kinda has is that their engine lights are pretty sensitive, not just on bikes in the break-in period, which usually is not a problem and you can troubleshoot it really easily yourself. I know this from working in a dealership that had their brand for quite some time. My only worry is that maybe with different electronics it's now easier to trigger the limp mode. But I'm still friends with people that work in a Royal Enfield service center, and I'll definitely figure this one out until the big review comes. After the bike got towed, we still had to get back to Maurice's place, and it was becoming night in Berlin. So now here back the next day, and I still yesterday rode out of Berlin, and I had such a good time on the Royal Enfield Classic 650, and I now want to share my first few impressions of the bike with you. First of all, the bike is really gorgeous, which especially in a city environment like I was in yesterday was just great, because the look of the bike is so gorgeous, especially in this colorway. I just love the blue of this motorcycle, and it's definitely my favorite colorway. I love stuff like the hand-painted lines on the tank here, which at this price point is pretty impressive, and all the exposed chrome and aluminum and all the little details and everything nicely flows together. That's pretty cool. However, this puts such a huge expectation onto the character of this motorcycle, and the character of the motorbike is definitely there visually. It just, can the riding of this motorcycle keep up with how the bike looks? Because the bike is pretty heavy. And yes, it was fun riding around Berlin yesterday. However, I now have 2 weeks with this motorcycle, and I don't know how it will be when I get used to the amount of power that this bike has in compared to its weight. If the 650 engine will end up being enough for this bike, that's what we will find out in the next 2 weeks. And definitely leave all the questions that you have on the Classic 650 in the comments so that I can answer them in the review and have a proper perspective at that, because the bike really looks amazing. It's just, can the whole package all convince? With that, definitely like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video, and thanks for watching.